Well, welcome again, friends. Today we're going to talk about the pain of grief. When we lose a loved one, the emotional pain we feel is often so much worse than we ever imagined. The deep pain that follows a loss can be overwhelming and seemingly unyielding. Maybe you've wondered, why does this hurt so bad? Well, let's examine that. Let's try to make some sense out of this debilitating emotional pain. First, the depth of pain is often in proportion to how deeply we loved the person we lost. Anne-Marie and I will often say to our clients, you are grieving much because you loved much. Makes sense, doesn't it? The impact of every lost one is different for many reasons. The closer and deeper our lost relationship, the greater degree of pain we will feel. For example, if we learn of an old friend, someone we haven't heard from in years, passing away, we may experience some sadness, but we aren't likely devastated. However, when we lose someone like a parent, a spouse, sibling, or child, someone we're really close to, that's an entirely different situation. The loss of a very close person just leaves a much bigger hole in your life. Pain of loss can also be more or less depending on the degree of disruption that is experienced by the death. For example, for a young child, when a young child loses his parent, security is thrashed. Children are wholly dependent on their parents. The child's relationship with the world, depending on age, is largely filtered through the parent. So the child can greatly feel the risk and feel the chaos. Similarly, life adjustments are also huge when we lose a spouse. Losing a spouse can feel as though we lost several relationships all at the same time, because often we think of our spouses playing multiple roles in our lives. Our spouses are our best friends, our lovers, our life partners, and companions. They may also be our protectors, encouragers, and our provider. So when we lose a spouse or partner, we can be hit with so many adjustments that need to be made, it may take months just to handle the most basic ones. Our pain can also be greater when we have unresolved relational issues left with the one we loved and ourselves. We may feel deep guilt or remorse because we had hurt our loved one or vice versa, and now we can't resolve the relational chasm that has been formed between us. They're gone. We have many thoughts that may begin with the words, if only, and then followed by thoughts and feelings we think should have been expressed or resolved, but they never were. Now, perhaps everything I just said was already apparent to you, and your question about pain of loss is a different one. You might be thinking, it has been quite a while since I lost my loved one. I really think I have things pretty well sorted out. I've made a lot of life adjustments. I don't have any deep remorse or unresolved wounds I can think of. And yet, I'm feeling a lot of pain still. I thought my pain of loss would be gone by now. I'm still deeply sad at times. In fact, and sometimes I'm ambushed by feelings of loneliness and even despair. It is as though my loved one had just passed away all over again. There is a common misconception that we can heal enough so that the pangs of loss will be over and done at some particular time. But sadly, the reduction and the elimination of pain doesn't work quite that easily. Feeling painful emotions of loss for months, and really even years, can make us question whether we are grieving properly. We think, if I'm doing this right, I shouldn't be hurting this much, right? Well, that could be. For instance, if we have been avoiding pain, numbing our pain, or trying to act like we're okay when we're really not, we could be delaying the process of grief. But keep this in mind. It is very normal and natural for you to experience painful emotions long after a loved one has died. Feeling pain beyond our expectation doesn't necessarily mean that you are doing anything wrong. For most people, the frequency, the duration, and the depth of their pain will diminish over time. But the pain reduction is not predictable, nor is it smooth. It will go up and down. For example, think about holidays, anniversaries of important dates, or something else unexpectedly reminding you of your loss. Well, of course you will feel more difficult emotions around those times. But even so, beyond that, waves of grief may come with no apparent trigger at all. You may ask, is there something that I can do to help this process along? Well, yes, there is. What you must do is allow yourself to feel. The experience of pain is an integral part of the healing process. You have to feel it, you have to acknowledge it, and then express it in writing or by speaking it aloud, maybe even speaking to your lost loved one. Conversely, don't ignore, deny, avoid, or numb your pain. If you do, the process of grieving will only take that much longer. Now, in any case, the expectation that pain is just going to cease after a year, even after 2 years, or at any particular time is just not realistic. If you are highly troubled by the degree of emotions you're feeling at this time related to the loss of a loved one, consider seeking professional assistance through a support group or a mental health professional. You can look at the resource listings on the mygriefcare.com website to guide your search for assistance. Well, in wrapping up today, I want to re-emphasize the key points of this episode. First, pain is associated with grieving. It's very real and a necessary part of the healing process. Second, the degree of pain we feel is proportional to the depth of our loss. Third, pain may be amplified by the degree of life disruption and/or adjustments that are required. And four, there is no specific endpoint to emotional pain related to loss. Finally, healing is aided by allowing yourself to feel the pain and acknowledging it. I'm going to give you a stepping stone activity here that starts with examining. Examine your relationship and rate your relationship that you had with the loved one you lost, with 1 to 10, 10 being highest. And then consider. Think about whether the pain you have been feeling is proportional to the depth of relationship. And finally, respond. Respond by giving yourself permission to really experience painful feelings without censoring them. I wrote this for today's reflection. The pain we feel in the wake of our loss must not be avoided. Our pain gives testimony to our loss. It represents the heart of our love story, and it serves as our uncomfortable but vital companion throughout our grief journey. Please keep that in mind. Thank you for being here today. I look forward to talking with you soon.